Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So surprise, it is another law of attraction video. I thought I would cram this one in this week just while I can, because literally my YouTube schedule is probably filled till December now. So I wanted to get this in because oh my god, crazy things happened at the weekend. So if you are watching my law of attraction videos, this is the fourth video in this series, so please make sure to check out the other ones because I cover techniques, what I do, how I got started. I cover probably most questions you want to know if you're new to starting out. So please don't think I'm ignoring that. Please don't think that I'm just skipping over a load of things. It's just I don't want to repeat myself because every single video I do is half an hour long, and I just don't know why I make them so long. So I'm trying to keep them short and sweet so people keep watching, it's easy for people to listen to, and I'm not repeating myself a million times over. So in my last video, when I talked about success stories, I spoke about obviously everything that had happened to me with this morning, which was incredible, and I spoke about the Tony Robbins event I was going to the weekend just past, which was the National Achievers Congress in London at the Excel. So I was just briefly going to explain how I got to that event and what happened at the event, because it was crazy, and I'm so happy if you found this video through searching the NEC and you remember me from Saturday, or you know, I met you on Saturday because I met so many amazing people who I have stayed in contact with and who I hope to grow amazing relationships with. So this all started back in September, I think, maybe even August. I saw the Tony Robbins event, and basically it was by Success Resources UK. They do a lot of events and speaking events with incredible inspirational people, and this one was the National Achievers Congress, which is for entrepreneurs and kind of businessy people who want to grow their business and go and get some awesome advice from really successful people. So I looked at going to this event with one of my friends, and we looked at the tickets, and literally the cheapest tickets were something like £400–500, and at that time I was just like, I can't afford this, and I don't want to spend that money either. Like, that's so much money just to go and see Tony. And obviously like those tickets would have been right at the back, and you know, I felt like I wanted to go, but I just thought, no, this doesn't feel right. Like, this doesn't feel like what I should do. So I left it. I didn't even ask for it, to be honest. I just kind of thought, whatever, if it's meant to be, it will be. And from that, it kept appearing in my Facebook timeline as an advert. And I kept seeing it, you know, day after day after day for weeks, even months. And I just thought, what is the universe trying to say here? Like, you know, I'd love to go, but I can't afford this. What is happening here? Like, what is the sign I'm missing? So every time I saw it, I was just like, you know, come on universe, show me what you mean. Like, what's meant to happen here? And my good friend Ricky, who is Skint Dad, and you should all go check out his website because he's an amazing man, he got in touch and he was like, Emma, you love Tony Robbins. He was like, I've just been contacted by Success Resources, and you know, they've offered me tickets in exchange for a review, like to promote the event. And I was instantly like, oh yes, this is it, this is it. So I got in touch with Success Resources, and we spoke to one another for a couple of weeks to obviously work out what my feature would be and, you know, how we could work together basically. And, you know, nothing really came about of it to start off with. Like, it, you know, it just didn't feel like it was progressing anywhere, and I still didn't have the tickets, and I was just like getting quite frustrated with it. But I just went with it and was just like, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. So it got to about a week before, and they finally said, because they were offering gold tickets to start off with, which would have been like right at the back, the £400 one I spoke of. And when it got to a week before, because I promoted it like on my Facebook pages, and because I'd spoken about it and, you know, kind of loosely promoted it, I guess, in a sense, beforehand, they said to me, you know, would you like diamond tickets instead? And they're like the one below platinum, so one below the top basically. And the tickets were worth, I think, something like nearly £2,000. Like, I couldn't believe it. It felt like Christmas had come early when, you know, they said to me, you know, do you fancy the diamond tickets? You know, thank you for your hard work. Like, you know, and also I was going to do a video afterwards. But they failed to tell me that I couldn't film the event. So I actually didn't have any footage of it whatsoever, apart from the little clips I'm going to insert throughout this video. So I'm going to do a blog post, I think, on it instead, obviously from a business perspective, and why, you know, I feel that it was beneficial, because obviously this video is like what happened at the event. But I don't know, this isn't part of the collaboration I'm with them. Like, if they probably watch this, they would think I was crazy. But I'm going to do a separate blog post on all the other speakers who were there, what I learned, and why I felt it was worth the money. So I got to the event. I went with one of my good friend's partners. He's also a really good friend of mine, and it was just so fantastic. So when we got there, like, everybody was really nice, really friendly, you know, they treated everybody really well, and we sat down and got our seats. And at the front, which I'll insert a picture of, you had these like tables at the front, and nobody knew whether diamond tickets could sit there at first. So I was really hoping we could. One, because it was a really comfy seat and we were going to be sat there for nearly 12 hours. And secondly, because it was right at the front, we had a little table, and it looked really comfy. So I was hoping that we were going to have those seats. In the end, we did get those seats because some of the platinum people didn't turn up, which was complete fate. And I sat on sort of like the left-hand side, in the corner, so I knew Tony would walk up the aisles, so I got an aisle seat basically. And we were sat next to some lovely people, including Eddie, and hi Eddie, if you're watching, I'm sure you are, because you do the law of attraction too. And it was just so incredible to be around lovely people, and you know, we learned so much from them, and they were just great people to be around. So when we were sort of like in the VIP lounge, I think they called it, for the platinum people, but we had access to it as well, I took a photo and just posted it on my Twitter and Instagram, tagging Tony, and just said, you know, really excited to be here, can't wait to see Tony Robbins. Now obviously I just do that at any event, like that's my job, that's what I do. And I didn't really think anything of it, and I certainly wasn't trying to catch anybody's attention with that post. I was literally just posting it to say I was there. And within an hour, the first speaker had come on, and my face just hit the floor. Tony Robbins had private messaged me on Twitter. What the hell? Like, that is crazy. That in itself was a dream come true for me, to even be noticed, and for him to take the time out of his incredible busy day to just say hi to me. And it was such a sweet tweet, and that just alone made my day. So we showed Eddie it, and you know, he was like, what, that's crazy. And you know, we were just so excited, and I just had this feeling of something's gonna happen here. I don't know what, I don't know why. And I just kept thinking to myself, don't visualize stuff. Don't put attention on what you want to happen, because you bloody know you're gonna block yourself, girl. So I literally just kept thinking, wow, if I've got that tweet, fantastic, that is a dream come true in itself. And I just kept thinking how grateful I was of just to even be noticed by Tony, and that I was at the event. And I just thought, you know, if I walk away having just had those two amazing things, then that would leave me satisfied and really happy. So I didn't focus on what I wanted, I didn't focus on the hug. I've mentioned I've missed so much. Okay, in my first law of attraction video, I said I really want to give Tony a big hug to say thank you for everything he's done for me. Even though he doesn't know he's done anything for me, I've watched so many of his videos and read all of his books, and he is one of the, he is my biggest inspiration. And honestly, just being in the same room as him was such an honour, but what happened was just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. So Tony didn't come on until about 3:30, so we were all exhausted. We'd been up since 5, we'd been there since 8 a.m, we'd been sat at the table since then, listening to people, and we had to keep getting up, dancing, getting our energy up, and I was just like, ah. And you know, I think having a late slot like that is always hard, because people are switching off, people are getting tired, and people are getting restless. So we just thought Tony was going to be on for an hour or something, and then the speaker came out, the host, sorry, and said, you know, he's about to do his 3-hour slot. So everyone obviously ran to the toilet, including myself, because my bladder is not my best friend sometimes. And it was just you could feel the energy and the momentum building. So Tony finally came out. And the energy was just infectious. honestly, if I could bottle that up and just inhale that every day, honestly, I would be so happy in life, because the energy in that room when he came out and like, you know, pumped everyone and the music was on and everyone was like jumping and dancing. Wow, like honestly, it just actually makes me emotional thinking about it, because it felt so right, so perfect, such an incredible place, and just no one was judging anyone. And that's what I loved about that room. Like everybody was so supportive of absolutely everyone. You know, we were all there for the same reason. We all had businesses, we all wanted to motivate ourselves, we all wanted to learn, we all wanted to improve our lives. And probably a lot of people do the law of attraction as well. Like a couple of the ladies I met said they did it as well. So I think it was just a room of like-minded people, and honestly I think that just added to everybody's energy and positivity and excitement. So Tony came on and like he kept running down and he just kept looking at me, and you know when you think like, oh, they're looking at me but you're not quite sure, I was like that. I was thinking, is he looking at me? And he kept smiling. He came up, gave me a big high five.
Of course, hey. But this is my 39th year and I work with more than 100 million people, 50 million people, for example.
Which again was more than enough, and I was so grateful for that. And it was just really weird how, and Chris was like, he's definitely keeping on looking at you, like this is really odd. And so he, you know, did a few exercises, energy building exercises, and then he said, you know, everybody write down 2 things that I think it was something like, write down 2 things that would give you fulfillment. So what is missing in your life right now and what would bring you fulfillment? And then the second question was, and why aren't you doing it now? Like what's stopping you? So I did this within 10 seconds, I kid you not, and he looked at me and laughed, because I was like, yep, already written it down, because I've been working on this for months. I know my blocks, I know my issues, and it was just, I think, quite comedic that everyone took 5 minutes to write it down, and I was like, boom, done. Sorted. Don't even need you, Tony. I've crossed that bridge. I know my issues, or so I thought anyway. They had like all this like music in the background to obviously create atmosphere, and bloody hell it did. Like it was very Americanized, I want to say. Like if you are planning to go to these events, they are very Americanized, but I think it just felt nice. I didn't feel awkward or like, oh my god, this is too much. I felt like just a crying mess, if I'm honest. So after we wrote down our 2 things, we got up, had a little dance, built our energy up, and then he said, right, who wants to tell me? And I was like, me! I put my hand up and he just looked straight at me and he was like, right, get up. And I was like, oh shit, this is happening. And then someone just like whisked the microphone to me, and then like I could see my face on the 2 big screens, and like bearing in mind my hair must have looked atrocious at this point, because I'd been there, I did it at 6 a.m, I'd been there for nearly 12 hours, and then my face was being pictured to 3,000 people. I was like, okay, don't think about how you look, this is your moment, shine Emma, shine. And I felt so comfortable. Like I've never ever done public speaking before, and I've never stood up in front of 3,000 people and addressed them or spoken to them. And I've done live TV, I've done really scary things before, but it felt so natural. And I don't know whether that was just maybe a sign that maybe that's something I should do, I don't know, but I just felt so comfortable turning around and speaking to 3,000 people, like didn't even faze me. So he said, right, what's your, like, what is it you want? And I just came out with, I want the unconditional love that I know I deserve. And like Tony was like, give her a hand, and everyone's like, whoa, whoa, and I was like, yes. Honestly, like the motivation just from the people was enough. And then he said, and like, what's stopping you from doing, like, having that love? And I said, well, I just can't conquer love. You know, I want my dream Irish husband. Don't know why that came out. And then I turned around and said, anybody Irish in here? Don't know why I did that. And I just thought, like, Mumford, what are you doing? Like, this is your moment and you're making jokes about Irishmen. So some men started putting their hands up, which was quite funny. And some of them did actually approach me afterwards, which was kind of funny, awkward. And Tony was laughing, and he just helped me actually see that, you know, he didn't address it fully at first, but, you know, he said to me that it's not love you're looking for, it's self-love you're looking for.
So I'm not dampening your vision in any way, shape, or form, but many of you have written down things that I'm sure you'll be able to find that husband that you want, but then you're going to have that husband that you want. And it's not going to be the same as your little fantasy in your head. And so I came by today to basically make you depressed about your future. No. I came by today because I really want you to have lasting happiness. Who's up for that? Say I. And I do know the formula, not because I'm so smart, but because I've been with 50 million people in 100 countries. And at this point, I could be a total idiot, and I have to see there are patterns that people do that make them excited for a while and then only set them up for disappointment. And there are patterns you can do that will make you fulfilled for a lifetime. So if you and I really want to get what we want, we might want to figure out what we need. And what she really needs is to love herself. She's looking completely outside herself for it, and it'll never work. And we all know that intellectually. But she's on a path that when she finally gets it, it's not going to be what she wants. She's got a bunch of criteria, and she's going to tell me I'm totally wrong, and I don't know what I'm talking about because she's the exception. But here's what I know. I know the human psyche, I know the human brain. The human brain is always looking for what it wants, but it's also looking for what it fears. It's looking for what it doesn't want. And by the way, what's wrong is always available. Can you make yourself miserable in the middle of beauty? Yes or no? Who's done it before? Who's forgotten what your life really was? Say I. So what's wrong is always available, so is what's right. What's preventing you from getting this next level of your life?
I'm definitely blocking.
Microphone? I'm sorry.
I'm definitely, I'm definitely blocking myself. I just can't work out what the block is. I've done a lot of self-healing over the last few months and found myself and transformed my life in incredible ways, but love is the one thing I can't conquer right now.
Yes, and as long as she believes that, that will be absolutely true, because a belief is a feeling of certainty. What makes a great athlete a great athlete? Skill. But are there people with extraordinary skill that don't win? Yes or no? So I'm a big believer in skill and strategy. I'm a strategist, but I also know that 80% of success in anything, in your business, in your relationship, in your body, 80% of that success is psychological and 20% is mechanics. And most of us, when we're trying to figure out what to do to get what we want, we tend to look for how. Like a how is the first question, and she's kind of not clear how. And she just knows there's some amorphous block. And it's not hard to figure out what's really going on. The real piece is she's afraid. The only thing that stops you is fear. And the fear that we all have, she has it, I have it, you have it. The only question is it active right now or not, is the fear that we're not enough. Because every human being in this room has experienced it. Who's felt times when you weren't smart enough, or funny enough, or sexy enough, or romantic enough, or creative enough, or rich enough, or young enough, or old enough? Who's felt that and felt the pain of that? Say I. And that first fear leads to the deeper fear, which is if we feel like we're not enough, our ultimate fear is we won't be loved. But she really is craving love. She's not craving a husband. She's not craving a rich husband, although she'd like to have those freedoms that she thinks it'll give. But there's a price to a rich husband. And many people discover there is no free lunch. So the bottom line is what she really wants is love, and she's afraid she's not enough. So she sends out what she wants, but she holds back because she's afraid. And it's not just her, it's the thing called mind. The thought she has is not unique to her. Who here has ever felt like, holy shit, can I do this? Will this happen? Who's had these fears and disappointments inside? Say I. Who's felt unloved inside? Say I. And the reason is because this thing called mind has been around for millions of years. If I would have told you a century ago that you could, in a near future, you could come by and have a little box like this, and you could take this little box, and you could see people somewhere else on the earth, and the way it would happen is invisible waves would come down to the box, and you could talk to people, see people, and record people's faces.
With the law of attraction, they speak of love and they say, you know, you need to love yourself first. You need to feel fulfilled, whole. You know, you need to realize that a partner is not adding or filling a gap. It is adding to you. And, you know, I realized in that moment, like, I have been slacking so much on my self-love. And, you know, I've been so busy helping people recently and so busy, you know, with helping people in my life and you know, life just got in the way. I've been so busy recently with all these events that, yeah, I have neglected self-love. And I just thought, oh my God, I had issues and I didn't even know I had issues. And it was just really incredible to see it from a different perspective and just someone tell you what your issues are. And you're like, oh God, yeah. Oh God, that is right. And you know, I think it helped a lot of people as well, because so many people have emailed me, tweeted me, contacted me, or even came up to me afterwards and just said like, thank you so much, like you were so inspiring, like, you know, it helped me, like that's my issue. And I didn't realise that just standing up in front of 3,000 people and telling them my issues was helping anybody. I just thought it was helping me, if anything. But I just felt so open and so comfortable in that environment to talk about my, you know, my past relationships and why I feel that I am blocking myself now with finding someone else. And, you know, it is just a case of I'm not ready for that, and I need to work on myself, and I need to realise that I need to be grateful for all the love, no matter what it is right now in my life, and the love will grow. And it's so simple when you think about it, because I've done it with money, I've done it with absolutely everything. Like, I know I can manifest absolutely anything. This whole video is insane in itself, what I'm going to tell you. So if I can manifest Tony Robbins to pick me out of a crowd and do everything else I'm about to tell you, why the hell is love so impossible to me? And it's not impossible, I'm just making it impossible by blocking myself. So I'm going to cover love in a whole different video, because I think there's so much to talk about and so much I've learnt through myself, which I hope can help others. So I'm going to address that in another video. So Tony then sort of like moved on to someone else. He kind of like walked away, and then he turned around and he said, I saw your tweet this morning. He was like, I felt drawn to you. He said, I recognise your face. And he was like, there's something there. And I was like, what? And Eddie turned around to me and he was just like, oh my God, Emma, like that's insane. He remembers you from Twitter. And I just thought, do you know what? Like, it was incredible that he tweeted me in the first place. It was phenomenal that he picked me out of the crowd and high-fived me. This is crazy that he is now telling everybody that he remembers me from Twitter and remembers my face and feels drawn to me. And so he kept going around the room and he like spoke to other people and obviously dealt with other issues. And, you know, some of the people were just so inspiring. Like, I was in tears, because literally whenever I watch I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix, I'm in tears, and to experience this in real life was just so much more emotional. So if you do go to these events, take tissues, honestly, and be prepared, because the camera will film you when you're crying as well. Like, I was just there like, and I could just see my face on the screen and I was like, no. But it was just such an incredible place to be a part of. And, you know, we did different exercises as well, where we had to greet like random strangers, and, you know, you went around the room and like you met people, and, you know, he did different exercises of how you greet people to, I actually can't remember why we did that. To find out, I think, you know, how we greet people and how it makes us feel. And, you know, everybody I was going up to, like when we weren't doing the practice, were like, you know, giving me hugs and saying like, you will find your man, like, you know, just giving me such love and support. And that room was love, honestly, because the amount of pure love from strangers that were coming to me and giving me love, I was like it makes me emotional now, because it was honestly the best experience of my life. So as Tony was walking around, like I said, he kept referring back to me, kept looking at me, kept saying like, you know, Emma's gonna find her man and this is what she needs to do. And I was like, this is crazy, like this is crazy. You know, for months I have dreamt about meeting him, I have visualized meeting him, I have asked to meet him, and here I am in a room of 3,000 people and he feels drawn to me. Like, what? So the only thing left out of what I asked for was to obviously have my big hug of him and to tell him thank you. And again, I just didn't think about this. I was like, if it happens, it happens, but it's fine. I have got everything that I needed, so it doesn't matter if it happens or not. And I think that's the key with the law of attraction. Like, don't think, now this has to happen. Like, just be relaxed, be calm, and be grateful for what has come your way already. So we did an exercise at the end of the 3 hours, and the whole way I did not feel tired, honestly. Like, we were jumping every 5 minutes, dancing, having fun, hugging people, crying, laughing. It was just a roller coaster of emotions. And at the end we did an exercise of gratitude, which of course I loved because I do that every single day. And it was, at this point, I just couldn't hold back. Like, I think everybody in that room was just crying ridiculously, and I couldn't shut my eyes because I was crying so much. So we had to put our hand on our heart and obviously think about why we're grateful. And God, I'm even emotional now. Like, this is how good it was. I'm still crying 3 days on. And I just couldn't keep my eyes shut because I was just so emotional and so happy and grateful, and just felt loved. And a lot of people behind me were crying because I could hear them, and I was like, well, at least I'm not the only one. And then again, the camera was filming everyone, so I had my eyes open because I just couldn't control my crying anymore. And Tony was like talking as he was walking around the room, and all the house lights were down. It was like very low lighting, and he just came up to me and he was like, nothing's a coincidence. And I was like, no, it's not, Tony, I manifested you. Oh, it was just incredible. So at the end, the lights came up and he was thanking everybody, and he went around the room again. And then we all stood up, and he, around the tables where the platinum people were, right at the front, he went down the whole line and high-fived everyone. So I was just expecting a high five, and then he just came up to me and spread his arms and gave me the biggest hug ever. And in that moment I was just like, the law of attraction works. Like, 100% works. And if you watch these videos and you watch my previous videos, you will see I've asked for everything I've just spoken about. And I was really gutted because my phone died halfway through, and I was trying to like elbow Chris to film it all because he just wasn't filming it. And I was like, Chris, this is the biggest moment of my life, please can you film this? And you know, again, the security guards were like, stop filming, like, you're not allowed to film, you're not allowed to take pictures. So it became really problematic to get this all on camera. Like, obviously it's just me telling you what happened, and obviously I wanted to remember it all and see it all. So Chris did get quite a funny video, and I will insert that in here for you, where Tony grabs the phone and it's quite funny. So Tony went off and I was just in shock, and you know, the guys sat next to us were in shock, and you know, everybody just came up to me and they were like, you're a celebrity now. And I found it so funny because like, I go to places and I'm known for what I do sometimes, and it always makes me feel kind of like, oh my god, people know what I do. So then to be in a room of 3,000 people who now don't know what I do, but they now know me for something else, like being tonified, I'm like, oh wow, this is strange. And like, people coming up and giving me hugs, and like I said, so many people have contacted me afterwards, and it honestly means the world to me. So thank you all for that, because it helped me, and it's obviously helped you as well, which is why I do these videos. So to be able to help someone in a you know, at the NAC as well is brilliant for me. But just the fact that, you know, people were saying like, you had a connection with Tony, like he was like, he kept coming back to you, like there was a connection, and wow, just wow. So if you sit there and watch these videos and think, the law of attraction doesn't really work, I bloody hope you know it does now, because this is probably the biggest thing I've manifested. More than this morning, this is the biggest thing I've manifested. And you know, my friend Charlotte afterwards was tagging me in all these photos, and I was like, oh, what's this? And people had like taken photos of the hug, they'd taken photos of him when I was stood with him. So I did have all this on camera, but other people are taking it. So I'm so blessed to have those photos, I'm so blessed to have the little video, I'm so blessed to be able to experience him like right in front of me, have a hug with him, and him try and help me overcome my issues, because oh, it was just incredible. So afterwards I sent him a little thank you tweet, and he was really sweet and replied to me, and oh my god, it was just the best day ever. Like, oh, and I've taken so much from that day. I've really looked at my life and thought like there was negative things in it still, and I have, you know, worked on to removing that, and you know, focusing on myself now, you know, dealing with the self-love issues, which I have. Like, there aren't many, but I know there is some where I neglect myself and, you know, put others before myself, but that is just me. And, you know, from now on, I'm not looking for love. I'm not looking for my Irish husband. I'm not looking at all. I am happy. I am full of love, surrounded by me, and what will be, will be. And I probably wouldn't be surprised if I manifest it a little bit quicker now, because I've realised that I don't need it, and, you know, that actively seeking and, like, not obsessing, but, you know, focusing on it constantly doesn't work. And I've proven it doesn't work with other stuff, so I don't know why I thought it would work some weird way for finding love. So, and so many people said to me that day, you know, it always happens when you're not looking. It always happens when you're not seeking. And that is because you've let it go. Like, you've let go of the outcome. You've let go of everything. And that's just what I needed to do. I needed to realise and have a 7-foot man tell me that I needed to let go of having that love. And it was really nice to know someone taller than me for once, if I'm honest, because I'm nearly 6 foot, and, you know, to have a 7-foot man give you a big hug was a nice thing. So at the event, I'll just quickly show you these. We got some little brochures which we wrote notes in, which all the speakers, you know, were part of. And I'll tell you who the other speakers were, just in case you want to know. We had Jason Vale, who is the Juice Meister, Eddie the Eagle. Then we had Andy Harrington, who was really good, and I really actually want to go to his course on public speaking. We had some really cool people on there. And we also got, with our tickets, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom. So I'm looking forward to reading this as well. So I hope this video, oh my God, this video is half an hour again nearly. How do I do it? How do I do it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's proof once again to you that everything I ramble on about does work. I promise you. And if I have manifested Tony bloody Robbins to pick me out of a crowd of 3,000 people, get my hug, get, you know, some help from him, and for him to tweet me and remember me, then you can do anything you put your mind to. So I really hope this video has helped you. I hope it's inspired you, and I hope that from now on you realise that you can just do anything, because I bloody do. And I think I needed that weekend, and I know that I was guided by the universe to go there. And, you know, at first it looked like I couldn't go, but just by having, I don't even think I had faith that it would happen. I just felt guided and just thought, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. So by letting go of that outcome, it happened in the most magnificent way. And that is the beauty of the universe. Everything you ask for, if you truly let it go and you're truly grateful for everything you have now, everything will happen beautifully for you. So I will see you next week for my next video. My next Law of Attraction video will probably be in a few weeks' time now. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. And I will see you next week for my next video. Lots of love.